Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Sifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers everything from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links can be found in the description for everything we discuss, so let's get on with it. This week we hear more details about the baby PU or 2.0. We see how the Caterpillar is coming along, and it sounds like Star Marine launch is just around the corner. So kicking off as usual, we have 10 for the chairman. The first question being, what are the motivations for the recent decision to change the FPS mode from elimination to headquarters? And Chris says that because it's tactical. In early testing, there is no reason to gravitate to certain areas on the Gold Horizon map. And also there are no respawns, so when you're waiting for the last two players to finally kill one another, it can get really dull for the viewers waiting for them to find each other when they're just roaming around the map. If they have a destination to be at, and it kind of speeds the game up. They said it'll also fit better with the PU, like boarding a ship, etc., sort of taking checkpoints. But obviously later on there will be Satterball and other game modes, maybe even elimination eventually, who knows. Moving on, with AC 2.0 to be the baby PU, will multi-crew be in Arena Commander? And he says that there will be much of the base mechanics in 2.0 that's needed in the persistent universe, so it's not really fitting to be an Arena Commander. He did say that Arena Commander will eventually contain multi-crew ships, but not before Star Citizen 2.0 is released. When people get multi-crew, you will see how Star Citizen fits together. He says it'll all come to light. Anyway, third question. Will players be able to drop weapons, gadgets in FPS? For example, trading weapons with teammates or enemies looting you. And he says yes, that's 100% part of the plan for Star Citizen Alpha and also for multi-crew. They say it may not make the first FPS release as they're working on it now, but it all depends on timing. So if not the first version, then the second. And the example he gave is if you fly out and scavenge weapons, then you can go and use those weapons in an FPS battle further on down the line sometime. So, next question. How do you plan to introduce specific mechanics like mining or electronic warfare? And the idea is that 1.3 is to have all the new mechanics. And he says once asteroid mining is ready, you'll be able to fly out in your ship and sell minerals in stations, planet side. All the mechanics will be tested and polished in the 1.3 map, or is he on about 2.0 here? For some reason I've written 1.3. I could be wrong. And getting feedback. Right now it's only dogfighting, so all the focus is on that currently, but there's way much more to Star Citizen, so there we go. So the next question is, death mechanic means our characters will constantly be changing names as their heirs take over the account. How will you be able to track a player for bounty if their name keeps changing? Sounds like this guy's got a bit confused with the whole death mechanic. It says that once they're dead, the bounty isn't relevant anymore. The idea is you don't die right away. If you technically die while in an FPS battle, you'll be brought back so many times until your lives are over. And so far, he did say 9 lives as an original, but he says an example here is 3, 4, maybe even 8 lives. So still not sure how many lives the player will have before he is completely gone, or that character of yours is gone. And a bounty would likely die if the person dies. So if you had a bounty on someone and they even just crash their ship and it's their last life, then the bounty will no longer stand. And the heir of that person who had the bounty on him would start afresh. He wouldn't have a bounty on him. The bounties don't continue to the next character. But if you are maybe the son of a crime boss, like if you were, your original character was a big crime boss and then you were the heir of all his assets, people may look at you differently, but you wouldn't have a bounty on your head if your crime boss relation did. If you think someone will just sort of kill themselves to avoid a bounty, it would be an extraordinary step to lose that bounty, as you do lose pretty much the majority of your stuff. You will lose your ships, not the hull, but obviously everything else you've attached to that. And then he did say something like maybe there'll be death taxes. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But he won't allow people to benefit from suicide, so it would not be a good idea. So, moving on. Will Voyager Direct Store close once Art Core shops open? And he says they will be trying to transfer as much as possible. Short time, they will keep some open, but then as soon as the proper shops are ready and complete, then yes, the online Voyager Direct Store will just go, and all spending will be in-game with UEC. Star Citizen 1.3, some point letting you earn money in-game to buy stuff. Again, I think this might be 2.0, I'm not too sure. I've written 1.3, whether or not he said that, I don't know. But yeah, once released, the money will then just go away, and they may even wipe it more than once in the testing phase. So when they get the 2.0, the multi-crew, you can use and earn credits, UEC credits, to buy things for your ship, for your character, but they will reset it at least once before the PU it goes live officially. So next question, what is the scope for offline play in Squadron 42? Can I go visit Artcore on my own? Currently there's no plans for offline version of Star Citizen, so that would be the persistent universe. He says there's too many parts of it require online functionality. Squadron 42 is a single player game, but you can have friends join your game, and I'm pretty sure I heard someone say that you can have friends play as enemy in the game. I'm not sure if that's true. I hear it is, but then you would be able to play as the Vanduul, and I don't think you can play as an alien. So, Squadron 42 would generally be a single-player game with the option of friends joining you as wingmen. You can have private servers in the persistent universe, but that would not contribute to the persistent universe itself. So there's only one PU, but you can have your private server of just the whole maps, and you can go off and do what you like. But as I say, it won't contribute to the main game. But in terms of going to visit Artcore by yourself in Squadron 42, in my honest opinion, I wouldn't have thought so. I think I wouldn't have thought you'd be able to veer too far away from the mission at hand. You can approach, I suppose, the mission however you like, but I don't think you can break away from it and go travelling across the universe to land somewhere. I could be wrong. I'm not writing the game, but Chris didn't explain that one, so we'll have to wait and see, I think. Next question is there something to keep us subscribing? So subscribers who donate so much money to CIG every week to get us posts like 10 for the chairman, around the verse and so forth. Is there something to keep us going? And he says yes, they're always looking at ways to thank us. It takes a lot of effort and work to show us all of this stuff, which is understandable, but he's happy that they can take the journey together. He says all the community stuff is enhanced by subscribers. They're currently started doing a monthly live stream for subscribers, if you are interested. We'll come to that in a few. There's more fun, flary things coming as well. For example, you can fly the scythe, etc. There's always things to reward us, but they want to reward us without giving us a head start, which is why we're seeing things like hangar flare. It's not going to give us any benefit in the persistent universe, but it's something nice to decorate our hangars with. So next question, what sort of player made content would be considered? And this is obviously relating to mods and so forth. And Chris says that ships, they would like to bring the other Next Great Starship ships in. So it's the ones that were runners-up, or even ones that didn't quite make any grade. If they're good enough and if the fans want them enough, then they'll bring them in for us. Long term, they say they might put out a UEE spec for a ship, and then people put their ideas in, and if accepted, can be put into the game, and then you would split the revenue. This was picked up on 10 for the chairman last week. It's the same for character clothing, so you'd be able to design your own clothing, or they may give out a spec for a certain type of clothing that they need, or a line, and then you put yours in, and if it gets chosen, you can split the revenue from, I don't know, maybe UEC revenue. I'm not sure if it means real money, but anyway, they did say that they'd like to put some mission editor stuff too, perhaps, so you would be able to design your own missions, maybe hauling missions or whatever. That is really cool. They say it's hard to generate enough content, and the community is super talented, so it only makes sense just to allow us, the community, the modders, to be able to create their own creations and keep the world feeling alive. Again, very much like Arma 3 and Arma 2. So many people put their own stuff in, and it just keeps the game going for many, many years. So final question, will we get a loaner multi-crew ship if ours is still in development? And yes, you will have a similar stats ship to fly until yours is complete. So that was 10 for the chairman. Again, some great questions, some great answers. I am loving these 10 for the chairmans at the moment. They are really adding to the hype train. Anyway, tell me your thoughts. Let's get on with Around the Verse. So on Around the Verse episode 62, Sandy and Ben started by explaining that patch 1.2.1 is being put through its paces. This will bring balance changes and a social module update. CitizenCon tickets will be printable 1 week beforehand, and there are also 200 Concord tours available, which I think they'll choose randomly, plus other swag and goodies, which I am very excited for. There was a subscriber-only live stream last Thursday, which they said they'll hopefully do once a month, and also a subscriber wall of honor, which I believe is all the subscribers' names on one wall. I hope they've got the image there. Anyway, on to news from around the verse, starting with Santa Monica CIG. Quite short and sweet, they're working on the Herald grey boxing and on balancing for 1.2.1, and also the two new weapons that are being worked on, ship weapons. These is a new mass driver and ballistic cannon. Now they say one is size 1 and the other is size 2, but they didn't specify which ones. On to CIG in Austin. They are currently working on the social module V1. They're working on new props to flesh out Artcore. There's a new Artcore second section coming with, which is supposed to be a construction zone with a big crane prop, which sounds very exciting. And they're also working on the Million Mile High Club, which the first 100 backers who donated $10,000 gets access to this club. They are currently making props for it now. The in-fiction prop for character loadout selector is being worked on. They're also working on female locomotion sets. And on Hurston, the Lorville landing zone is in white boxing. This will be a refinery world, way different to Artcore. So, Foundry 42 in the UK, they are working on Ship Audio 2.0, which is to expand the complexity of the ship sounds. They're also working on ambient sounds and giving areas in FPS new life. They say they are making FPS a pleasant experience. So, Foundry 42 Frankfurt, they have a prototype up and running for a procedural generation, which is incredible. They said there was a choice of 3 different ways of doing it, and they chose this one, which they said have got great results from. Very exciting stuff to see. This will allow us to fly from space straight down to the planet with no loading screens, with complete control. Very exciting milestone, I'd like to think. They said they've got some good work on ragdolls, and all the ragdoll to animations, vice versa, works really well. Also, procedural hit reactions are in. This will create less repetition for people being shot, and instead of it being a normal generic reaction to a bullet shot, it'll be based on the bullet's trajectory and velocity, and this is very exciting. Again, it'll create much more diversity to FPS gameplay, and it'll just feel more realistic. They say they're making good progress every week for a new cinematic treat, which we shall see at CitizenCon, and they are implementing new CryEngine tools to really help with faster workflow. Very exciting stuff this week, and the Frankfurt studio seems to be heads above the rest with exciting hype train news. Anyway, James Pugh had a chat with Forrest Stefan, who is the CG supervisor. He will most likely be the Meet the Dev next week, so I would hold off and see what he has to say then. It's Wing Commander's 25th anniversary as well, and Ben sat down with Chris Roberts to have a chat about it all. It's definitely worth checking out, so do follow the links in the description. So, on to Ship Shape with Elisa Ohanian, and today she is specifically talking about the Caterpillar, looking at the challenges and the modules. With the ship being asymmetrical, it looks very cool, but it's also very challenging for the designers and the artists. As you probably know, the command module can detach, so technically you are getting 2 ships in one, and they are being built as so. They're spending a lot of time polishing the cab, and so far the biggest challenges are making sure that the people and the components can all fit within inside this cab. When attached, it can obviously interact with every piece of the main ship, the full ship, but when not attached, it can. So it'll be a ship on its own. So far, the modules they have got on the go are the medical module, the personnel module, the workshop or chop shop module, and the cargo module, and we can see some images there. I love the Caterpillar, and I cannot wait to see it or try it out. So when we return back to Sandy and Ben, they say they're closing down the FPS module soon, and as you'll hear up next in the Star Marine update, they sound very, very close. Now, most valuable post goes to a chap called Surface, who has done some pictures of the scale of Star Citizen ships, where he's put these pictures or these ships within real world situations to show us how big they actually are. Very, very cool and definitely worth a click. And the sneak peek is the Endeavour medical unit cutout. So as always, we have the Star Marine update. They say that most of the week has been spent fixing crashes, blockers, and continuing to work on server stability. They had a free play test of the release build on the servers, which we will be using, and they say they've made some great progress. They've got some slight animation assets to do for recent gun handling and aiming down sight problems. The re-export of the animations for stocked weapons is finished. Pistols will be finished next, and they said that once complete, you'll be able to have the player models hold weapons properly, animate in aiming down sights and firing. There's an image shows a bug where when you have no weapon selected, you still maintain the pose. That needs to be fixed. There's another bug they need to sort out, which is not allowing you to choose a weapon for loadout. Now, the video they put up this week was about ladders, and they say that they are in great shape now. They've always had a little trouble with ladders, but now for first person and third person's perspectives, they are looking fantastic. He did say ignore the floating med pen by the left leg. It's going to get fixed. So, gameplay and engineering side of things, they say lots of crash fixes and network support. They have fixed a personal shield and hologram crash. Continuing work on the weapons aiming down sight issue with hand IK. Now, I'm not sure what IK is. If you can shine any light on that, I would appreciate it. They're also continuing work on the decibel system for radar. Now, I believe this is where the radar will detect sound, which would be great when you're on what you think is a derelict space station. Hearing little sounds bounce up on your radar will kind of scare the shit out of me. Anyway, gadgets, guns, and grenades are all hooked up. They're working on player movement triggers now. In the UI side of things, they have fixed hit indicators as they weren't showing up, fixed a problem with new ammo and mag counter displays. They have implemented the kill feed widget and add the player join message. They have fixed overscaled radar in helmets, and each helmet type HUD was finished today, and we have some screenshots of these HUDs. These helmets are looking looking so cool. So on to art and weapons. They have started work on the Area of Denial gadget and the first pass on sniper rifle visual effects, which is being synced up with the audio this week. Animation, the start, stops, steps are in for the stocked motion set. Now they say that jukes have been temporarily removed in preparation for the PTU launch, and they will add this in a future release. Now it does seem like they are starting to realise that they don't need everything in for the PTU, they just need to get the game to a decent standard, which we'll get onto soon. Anyway, they're also investigating grenade throw animation issues. This is obviously a PTU blocker. They cannot release it without the animations for throwing a grenade fixed, and currently it says it puts you into a T-pose or it will just throw it in an unexpected direction, which is definitely an issue. So once they get that fixed, hopefully it'll be very close to ready. So finally, in audio, they have finished the bullet laser crack sounds. They have done the draw or holster implementation for the sniper rifle. They have done a first pass of the sniper rifle overheat to match new visuals. They are working on an audio pass for gadgets. They have started work on footsteps and Foley for the ladder animations. And Foley is your sort of sound effects when they create them using certain objects to bring it more of a realistic sound. They are working on energy weapon recharge audio, working on a bullet case and grenade bouncing audio for next week. They have submitted work on the med pen sounds, working on a radar displaying audio generated from other players, and also they have put metal sound effects in as a default footstep audio for the FPS just as backup. So I assume this is ready for the PTU launch. If they don't have the audio for that ready, they'll just keep this metal sound effect until they get it finished. So the final part about this Star Marine update was, so when can we get to play Star Marine on the PTU? And they say that they are working on a patch release based on the new code base for Star Citizen. They will need our help to test this, and the server changes in 1.3.0 very soon. And they say that if they feel that Star Marine is in the bare minimum state, as said before, to release to the PTU, then they will include it in 1.3. If not, they won't. It's important, they say, to give us something that we can actually test effectively before going to PTU, and it does sound like they're finally cutting back on things that are really not necessary for testing the core functions and gameplay aspects. So hopefully we can get our hands on it soon, and then once we start playing with it, they'll start bringing in all these different parts that weren't really needed for the first release. Anyway, it sounds like it is just around the corner. I'm very excited. Tell me your thoughts. So also this week, Paul Randell was the dev in Meet the Devs. There was a follow-up post on the ongoing story about the stolen ship details from Origin Jumpworks titled Itch to Scratch, spelt ICHTH. And finally, Mark Bent was back with Bug Smashers episode 11. So don't forget to check out our affiliate links below for some great deals and offers. Anytime a product is bought, we will get a little kickback. So yet again, we have come to the end of the show. I just want to say a big thank you to all our subscribers and a massive thank you to all our patrons. You are truly helping our channel grow. If you are interested or able to help us out in way of a monthly donation from as little as $1 to any amount you deem fit, check out our Patreon page in the description. This really helps our channel to create more videos, better quality videos, and it allows us to get better hardware, better software, plus it allows us to spend more time on creating the videos. Don't forget to subscribe, comment if you have anything to say, show me the love by hitting the like button, and share it with all your friends and enemies. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you in next week's show.